everyone, it's Karen from Close to My Heart. We are going to do a fun process video today together, but before we get started, I just wanted to remind you, as always, to like and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube, and be sure to turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a Close to My Heart video. Today, I'm wearing these colors on purpose because I thought it would be fun to challenge myself today to build a monochromatic layout with you, and I've chosen to use our color of the year, which is Melon. So let's take a look at what I brought to work with today. So I printed out some photos that I want to talk to you about a little bit, but I also grabbed all the things we had in Melon and also some colors that were similar to Melon, like peach and papaya, so that as long as they're in the same color family, it's still considered monochromatic. These pictures are of my sister's 22nd birthday, which took place in 1990. Now you might be looking at those photos and going, wow, for 1990 photos, those are pretty good quality. I wanted to talk about them today. The reason I chose these photos is because I thought it would be fun to work with Melon. And so I looked through some of my old photos and found that I had used a tablecloth for her birthday that looked very Melon. But what I did is I pulled out these photos from 1990 and they weren't great quality. Excuse me, they were shiny, they were a glossy finish, which is not my favorite. And they were also a little blurry and really dark because back then we didn't have the tools we have now. In fact, we didn't even have digital cameras. So what I did is I carefully laid those photos flat on a surface, and I used my iPhone to take pictures of the pictures. Then I did some editing right in my iPhone and printed these photos. I lightened them, I sharpened them, I got rid of some shadows, all things that you can easily do right on your phone, and then printed them on matte photo paper, which is my preference. I like that because there's no shine in my scrapbooks with them that way. So that explains how I got great photos from 1990. And because I knew which photos I was using, I printed them in sizes I thought I would use, and drew myself a little sketch. So I had something to work with and get started with as we made this video today. Also, since I'm shooting this in a video studio, I'm not sitting next to my Cricut machine. So I did a little bit of Cricut cutting and stamping ahead of time too, thinking that would help me today. So I printed 22, or I cut 22, excuse me, with my Cricut in 4 different colors: papaya, white, peach, and melon. And I'm sitting here looking at those. I was thinking I would pick the one that would look the nicest with what I put together. I thought maybe the title could go here or here, but as I'm sitting here looking at them, I actually love them all. So I may incorporate more than 122 into my layout today. And also I wrote on my little sketch to use some flip flaps. Flip flaps are an amazing little tool we have here at Close to My Heart. We carry them in lots of different sizes. They allow you to add a photo or more journaling, more photos to your layout, and they go on top of another photo so that you have an opening. And because I drew a sketch with 3 4x6s and 1 3x4, but I actually have several 3x4s here, I thought I would incorporate some flip flaps in this layout and show you how those work. So I did a little bit of prep work ahead of time. I also grabbed some melon dots, which I love. They're so cute. They come in circles and stars and hearts. So I have a few sheets of those that I can work on here. And then I also stamped some cute flowers with my Melon ink pad that I think will look really cute on this layout. I may end up not using them, but at least I have them to use. So I just stamped those and cut those out, so I had them if I wanted them. And I think that takes care of everything that I would need to do that I can't really do in the video studio ahead of time. Oh, I also printed my journaling. That's another thing that's a little bit hard. And you might be wondering, why do you print your journaling, Karen? I actually do handwrite my journaling a lot of the time, but I did print this one because it's quite long. And I tend to be a long journaler. I tend to want to tell a lot of the story behind this. The story behind these photos is that my sister was turning 22. My parents lived in Hawaii. My dad was actually in Utah on a business trip, so he was there. My grandma was there. but my mom was in Hawaii. So I wanted to host a birthday dinner for my sister, and I had just taken a little entertaining class. So I was so excited to incorporate all the table setting ideas I got, a couple of the recipes I got at that class. So that's what I did at this dinner. That's what I remember about this dinner. And also making this little pumpkin cake. So that is the story I told here about the dishes, the tablecloth. I even made the tablecloth, went and bought fabric. So that's all in my story, and that's why I printed it. And we are going to get started. So as you can see, I brought lots of Melon things to work with. So I'd have choices. Like I said, I also brought a couple of other colors that I think look nice with Melon. They're all in that orange color family. I brought this Melon sticker sheet and all of these Melon pattern papers and even some embossed Melon cardstock that I thought would be fun to maybe incorporate into my layout here. So you can see I've got lots to choose from. And I think if I pull my sketch in that I drew, we can all look at that together, and that'll help me start choosing papers. So my idea was to do strips of paper back behind the photos. I've got a couple of horizontal photos, and so I thought it would be fun to do, a couple of vertical photos, so I thought it would be fun to do horizontal stripes as kind of like an opposite juxtaposition that is really interesting to the eye. So that's where I'm going to start. I'm just going to start grabbing a few papers. I think I definitely want to use some of this fun embossed cardstock. So I'm going to grab a couple of those. As I'm looking at the patterns, it's kind of hard for you to see. Maybe if I go over here on the close-up camera, you'd be able to see. I pulled out the one that looks like a grid, and maybe I can, there you go. I think you can see that in the light. And so that's a really fun, really subtle way to incorporate some pattern. And there are a couple of other patterns here. There's one that looks kind of like, I say pickup sticks. If you ever played that as a kid, that's what that reminds me of. And then one that are just like little boxes. And I think I'm going to start and try the grid because I think it's a little less busy, and I do want to use some of these fun pattern papers in my layout. So I think I'll put these two down in my workspace. This is going to be a 2-page layout because I thought that that was a nice way to spread the photos across 2 pages. Then I'm just going to start cutting some strips. You can see I have a couple of strips here that I've drawn for the center. So I think I'll see what papers are standing out to me the most that I like together. This one I love, but I feel like I would maybe use that as a base. So I'm going to set that one aside. This is gorgeous. I love this ombre, but it feels sort of like a more solid pattern. So I'm going to take that one out for now. That leaves me these 4, and I like all of those a lot. I think I might take out this floral one because I like the lighter patterns with more white on them with this paper. So I think that's where I'll start. I'm just going to cut off these cute zip strips that are on the paper. All of our paper has these little zip strips on them. And I love them. I use them for borders and all kinds of things. So I'll just cut that off so I have the paper only to work with on each of these patterns. And then I'll just cut some strips in different widths. When I do a layout like this, if I want it to feel a little more playful, I usually do my strips in different widths. And if I want it to feel way more formal, then I maybe would do my strips all the same width. I think I want to do different widths for this layout because it was a birthday party and it's supposed to feel fun. So I think I'll start with that. Maybe we'll do some gingham here. I'm just going to cut a 3-inch strip. There's no right or wrong way to go here. And I'll just lay these out a little bit as I go. Let's see, our polka dots. Maybe I don't know, 2 3/4 or something, just so it's slightly different. And then we've got this cute pinwheel looking paper. That's what that reminds me of, pinwheels. And it's definitely our largest scale and most eye-catching. So I probably want to take that a little bit further away from the photos. Maybe I'll put that at the top. And I don't know, maybe I'll do that one at 2 and 3. Maybe I'll do 3. Let's just see what that. I can always cut it down, right? I was going to say 2.5, but why not 3? And I can also overlap if I feel like they're a little bit too wide. So I think I want this one at the top of my page because my photos will be more the furthest away from this one and it won't fight with that larger scale busy pattern. I love that, but I always like to put busy patterns a little bit distant from my photos. Then I think I might want these polka dots to separate the gingham and these so that it doesn't feel like 2 really busy patterns in a row. With all that white background, that feels a little more restful to me. Okay, I'm liking that so far. I'm just going to take my photos and lay them out like I made them on my sketch and see how I'm liking my 2 vertical. I'm going to put this one here on the right side, I think, because that way she's looking toward another photo. If I put it over here, to me, it feels like she's looking off the page. So I think I want to go this direction. Then I've got this other 4x6 that I'll put over here. And then I'm going to do something with all of these little guys with flip flaps. So I'll just kind of stack them. Put them right there. Okay, I'm happy. This doesn't happen for me every time where I lay it out and it just feels really good already, but it's feeling good to me. I am going to do mats for these so they're not laying right against a pattern, I think. So I think I'll try White Daisy. Just some plain white cardstock. I use tons of white cardstock. How about you guys? I feel like white is almost like an essential part of a page for a restful place to look. And so I think I'll cut 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mats for these larger ones, and then I can see if I feel like the smaller ones also need some mats. See how that looks. It's always a little bit nerve-wracking to just think I'm going to come down in here and what if I hate what I do. And that's why I like to think through things a little bit before I come down here so that I at least bring products and journaling and things that will be like what I'm hoping to have things look like. I think I might even pop those on foam tape to even make them have a little more. I'm going to just set that right there because that's also going to be part of that stack of things. And I think I do want to do a mat for the 3x4. So I'll just cut a quick 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 piece. So the flip flap itself is, you can't go this big. Let me see if this is going to make sense. The flip flap, the piece that slides in, so maybe I'll just slide one in here right now. The photo that slides in, or the piece that you slide in, whatever that is 3x4. But if I have this little guy 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, it's going to look like that photo has a mat. Does that make sense? And also keep in mind when you use a flip flap, when it's opening from the top, the bottom photo, it needs to be upside down from this one. So let's see if I can find one to put in there. I love that little picture of my daughter. She's actually now 37 years old and has 4 children of her own. And here she is, just this cute little 4-year-old. Okay, so I've got those. I'm liking how that's going. I also have these 2 vertical photos. This is my baby sister. There are 3 sisters in my family. This is my baby sister, and this is our son Easton. who now has 4 kids of his own. And I brought another flip flap. And another thing that's fun about flip flaps is even though the opening is on like horizontal, I could have used this as a vertical photo. I also grabbed a flip flap that has the strip on the short side, and I think I could put these in that. And same thing, if I wanted to open on the top, I need those photos to be backward from each other. So I'll put that in there, and I'll save those for later, and we'll figure out what we're going to do with all of that happening. Probably should have trimmed those down just a tiny. They're really tight in there. I probably didn't cut them perfectly. There we go. Okay, so I've got that all going on. I've got journaling that might go down here under, I kind of like that whole stack going on. So maybe I'll go that direction. I like that that's poking out so you see to lift and lift. That's going to be fun. All right, so I'm just going to move those out of the way and let's figure out our title. I cut all of these 22s in different colors, and I had on my sketch drawn to put this title up here, but I don't love that. It feels top heavy, and when I laid these all out to show you earlier, I actually thought it was fun that they were together, so maybe I'll put a few across the bottom and see how that looks. Let's see. That's a fun, subtle title. Maybe I could move that up and put another one. In fact, maybe. Let's just see. Let's just see how this looks. I don't like it just on one page. So maybe I'll put them. I do like that, but I don't like these right here. Let's see. Maybe switcheroo, so the heaviest one is the first one you see. And I like that papaya. The reason I chose to bring papaya is her shirt is kind of a red orange, and I thought that might balance some of that, and I actually like it right there because then it's at an angle from that color. I actually like them in just like that. Got a little blue right there. There we go. Okay, I'm feeling good about what we've got so far, but I'm feeling like this is a little busy. I wonder what it would look like if I were to cut it down and put it on some white cardstock. Let's just see what that feels like. I like that. I feel like that gives me a little breathing room. Oh, I didn't mention I brought down a couple of pads, papaya and melon pads, and a blending brush and some white gloss spray. I did mention the melon dots and the flowers that I stamped. I just brought a bunch of stuff that I thought would maybe work on this page, so we'll see if we use all of that or none of it, or I don't know. But you can see my blending brush already has melon ink on there. I just keep one blending brush for every color family, so it'll be great on those. Okay, I think I'm going to cut these pages down just a little bit and mount them on some white. I like that. I like that there's some room to breathe around the edge. So what I think I'll do, set some things aside and glue these together before I cut it down, then it'll be less cutting. I won't have to cut every piece of paper separately. I can just cut one cut at once. So let me grab some adhesive. As you can see, as I turn this over, our paper has two sides. So the polka dot paper and this kind of pinwheel looking paper are both actually the same paper, which is fun. And on the back of the gingham, let's see what's on the back of the gingham so you can see another example. Oh, that cute floral that we looked at. Okay, I've just got strips of paper put on here. I'm going to do the same over here. One thing that I love about a monochromatic color scheme layout, and that I can already see happening here, I feel like I can be a little more busy. Because it's all one color family, it feels way more restful, even if the patterns are a little bit crazy like this, which I love a beautiful, crazy pattern. But I'm also usually really careful where I use that, just so that I don't overwhelm whatever I'm making. And this gives you so much more. That was the very end of that little guy. Let's just get a new one. I was probably mid-sentence when I noticed that. Now I don't remember what I was saying. So I hope it was understandable. Okay. Oh, about monochromatic. So I'm just going to cut about a ½ inch off each side and see how that looks. So another thing I love about monochromatic layouts, I actually do a lot of monochromatic scrapbooking because I feel like it gives me a little bit of an opportunity to, like I said, be a little more crazy with pattern and stamping and how many photos are on a layout, all of those things, because it's a little more restful, but also because you can play with color schemes in your photos. Yeah, I think I want some more cut off of there. Let's see how that works. I'll talk about the photos in 1 second. I just want to make sure I'm happy with what's happening. Okay, I love that white border, especially down here where we have the heavier patterns. And I'm actually happy that I just haphazardly ended up with this at the bottom, because I think that's where all the weight is, and I'd rather have it down there than up here. I think this feels a little more airy. Okay, let me cut this one down and we'll go back to my monochromatic stuff. So I also love it, like, let's say I had photos that were predominantly blue. This would be a great color scheme to go with that, because that would make a complementary color scheme when we talk about mixing the photo color scheme with the, I'm going to go on this side because it's a little bit less even. Mixing the color scheme with the photos and the papers. So obviously mine is all monochromatic, including the dominant colors in the photos, but I would love a layout that looked like this, or a triad color scheme. Let's say your photos had 2 major colors and you chose to go with what would make those 2 colors into a triad color scheme, and chose to do a monochromatic layout that actually turned with its photos into a triad color scheme. So there are a lot of things you can do by staying monochromatic, and doing that will make your photos just really pop right off the page. You're going to see on my layout, even though there's not a lot of restful patterns on here, what there is everything feeling very much in the same color family, and it'll, I think, make it feel very restful. Whereas choosing a monochromatic and using it, playing off the colors in the photos in a complementary or triad color scheme, really does make the colors in your photos that are opposites or kind of a complementary group together, really makes those photos pop. Okay, I'm just matting these photos that we talked about matting. I just still had them sitting on them. But I'm not going to glue these on until I place these little numbers where I want them for the title. When I decided I was going to title this layout 22, I actually thought of a Taylor Swift song and went on and printed out the lyrics to that song, just the chorus that I thought was really cute and went well with my photos. But then when I sat down and decided to sketch this, I knew there were a few photos I wanted large, like the 2 photos of my sister opening gifts and blowing out candles, but also the table that I was so proud of. And so I decided there just wasn't room for those lyrics, but that's always a fun idea to print a poem or song lyrics as part of your journaling. Actually, I think I want those down lower. Let's put these numbers on. I might change my mind. Yep, I already am changing my mind a little bit. On these numbers, when I cut them on the Cricut, I felt like they were too thin. I wanted them to feel more like chipboard. So I cut each of the colors, I think 3 or 4 times, and glued them together so that it feels like chipboard. So they pop a little bit, which is fun. I just wasn't sure what direction I was going to go, and I'm really happy I printed them all the different colors because I really like what's happening. Do you ever do that? Do you ever think, I'm just gonna, while I'm at the Cricut machine, do a few extras of things in case I decide I need it? And sometimes it's a happy accident because I think it's turning out fun here. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put these on. I feel really good about this title. I love that it feels like a nice border at the bottom and adds even more weight to the bottom of my page by being such a large, in charge kind of thing. So let's just put them down. Okay, I think I'm ready to put my photos down, and I might pop these photos, I think, and make them stand out even more. So I think I'm going to grab some foam tape. And pop those photos. I love a good dimension on a layout, don't you guys? Okay, I feel good about where we've got everything placed now. And before I go too much further, I think I might want to start thinking about what embellishments I want to add here. Anything else that I might want to do on these pages that could add some personality to it. So I'm just going to grab my sticker sheet that has all of these fun melon things on it. I might put these borders right up here to break up these two patterns a little bit. This is what happens when you wait to make these decisions until after you've got things glued down. So we're just gonna trim things as we go here. It just looks like it goes all the way across my page. Surprise! Take this other one. I like that. I feel like that's a nice break in those patterns, especially since those pinwheels are a little more busy. I feel like this layout needs a little something right there, which was originally where I put my title, thinking I was going to want some weight right there, but then felt like I liked it better at the bottom. But I do feel like it needs a little something right there to balance what's this smaller grouping with this larger one on this side, since it's a very symmetrical layout. Wonder how that Simply the Best would look. Let's see. I like that. I am going to add that right there. Okay. I think I'm about ready to add all of this. I like to add my flip flaps. There's a couple of ways you can attach flip flaps. I like to add my flip flaps on my page, then cut a slit in my page protector and pull them through. I just feel like they stick and are a little more easily accessible that way. And one thing I always do when I put flip flaps on the way I like them is I don't put whatever's going down there until I put them on, and then that way the little sticky part is underneath there. So I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm just going to take this one, pull this off. I'm going to actually move over to the close-up camera because I think if you've never used flip flaps before, this will be a fun thing for you to see what I mean. Okay, so I've got my horizontal 3x4 in a flip flap. I'm just going to lay that with the flap that I pulled the adhesive off of. I'm going to fold it under. It has a natural fold, and lay it on here so that it looks like it's sitting on a mat. Remember how I told you that would look like a mat? Okay, so I've got that going on. Then I've got this one that I thought would be fun tucked in there. So same thing. I've got that adhesive piece that it folds under, and I'm just going to add that right inside this one. I'm going to move it over just a little so you can also see that little border, like there's a mat there. And now I can add my journaling right here. I could have put my journaling in here. That would have been cute too, but I have a little bit of space at the bottom right there of my journaling. When I trimmed it down, I was like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. But since I've got that space, maybe we'll do something to decorate it so it doesn't look so bare right there. Do you ever do that? Print something and then just start cutting without thinking? I did that with this. I've got a nice space right there, so I might as well use it. Let's see if we've got any stickers that might look cute on there. Maybe. Well, we've got a few little baby hearts here that we could just make a little heart border. What would that look like? Is that long enough? Or I could even use what's left of my border. That's cute. I'll do that. Like that. I'm just going to cut it even with the journaling so it doesn't poke out from below on the mat. That's cute. I like that. Okay, let's see what else I got here that I might want to use. I think it might be cute to add a little something right there. So maybe, what have I got here? Maybe just a little heart. How about this little stripey heart so it stands out? I like that. That's cute. Now I feel like that's got some personality. And, oops, I put that a little bit too high. I can fix that. There we go. All right, now that'll close nicely. All right, so let's see. I put this secondary title down. I think what I'm going to do now is just move back where you can see everything, because I've got all these cute little flowers that I stamped. I'm just going to see if there's a way to do some fun embellishing with those. I wonder what they'd look like as little embellishments on the numbers. That might be fun. Not sure I love that. I think it gets lost. I do like this though. I'm just going to try and put them in different places here and there. I like this. Glad I made these little babies, little baby flowers. All right. Okay, that's really cute. I'm just looking at what else I brought down here. Is there anything else I want to add? I don't think I want to use those. This might be fun, this white gloss spray. I happen to be a white gloss spray addict. So I think maybe it would be cute splattered across the numbers here, which means I probably should, well, it's okay if they get on my flowers. I'm just going to glue these flowers on first. Okay, I'm going to splatter. When I splatter, I always put things in a box. I think it makes a lot less mess. So I'm just going to bring in an old box that I used to splatter. I brought it down with my splattering stuff. And I'm also going to grab just a piece of white cardstock to cover up the parts I don't want splattered, since that it was an afterthought. I just want this bottom part splattered a little bit. And instead of spraying this, I think I'm going to just splatter it by taking the lid off and doing a little tapping. Oh, that's way cute. I should move this where you can see now that I like it. Okay, you can see I'm adding those little splatters in right there. I'm loving how it's looking. Just a random little dots all over the bottom section here. This gloss spray is one of my favorite little accents. I put it on so many things, so many layouts. Okay, I love that. Let's see how it looks when I take it off. Very cute, just a subtle, fun, playful element. Let's do the other page too. Let me bring that in. Set this aside to dry for a second. I keep thinking that's glue right there because you can see the background, so I'm just going to move that flower a little. Okay. I also love a good gold one, but I would probably never use gold on this layout. But I use the white and gold gloss sprays all the time. Sometimes I mist them, you know, right from the spritz lid, or sometimes I splatter them like I just did. So I love this look, and actually I'm really happy that I got a big blob right there, which is the far end of the page, so it feels like a nice accent to end the page, although it was very unintentional. Okay, let's see, let's take this out to dry, and maybe while it's drying I'll just see if there are any other accents I want to put on this. So let's just take a look at the whole thing and be very careful not to touch the white gloss spray as it's drying. My left page is already dry. That's how quickly it dries. Okay, done with flowers. I don't feel like I need any more of the flowers. The only other thing I brought down to the studio was these melon dots and the stickers. There might be a couple more stickers I want to use, but I think I could put, ooh, that's cute, some centers on those flowers. So I'll just use some round ones and put some centers on the flowers. Cute. I love how this whole layout just feels so fun, but also not overdone because of the monochromatic scheme. I'm just using different sizes of these dots. First of all, I wouldn't have enough of all one size, but also because I think it's dang cute that they have different sizes. So win-win, right? I have a few sheets of this with me, but let's see what we can come up with. I'm just varying which ones are where. Love it. I think I'll put the last big one on that very first one, kind of to counter that guy over there. And got all my middles added. I am going to grab some of those stickers and see if there's any others I want to add before I maybe scatter some of these. There's some bigger hearts on here, and I've used that heart in here. I might as well see if there's a place to put some of these larger hearts. There's this cute gingham one. What would look cute with that? Maybe a solid. I love to take like elements that are different patterns and the same shape and group them. That's cute in that little spot, I think. Oh, I want to move that down a little. That feels a little too close to the Simply the Best. Careful. Maybe I'll pop this one. Did not land where I wanted it to. Here we go. That is cute. Okay, maybe I'll add a little flower with those guys. What does that look like? I love that. You better get a middle too, though. Okay, let's see if there's anything else I want to add over here. Maybe some other little hearts. Are there any smaller ones? I think a couple small ones might look cute right here. What if I did? I like it overlapping that photo, but maybe not that little. What does the biggest one look like? I love that. I'm just going to add a little foam tape to the part that's not overlapping since that photo's on foam tape. Maybe a smaller one with that. There's a stripy one. Well, that's cute. I'll do that. Do I want a flower in with those, maybe? Nope, I don't. Okay, I think we've got our layout done. Maybe I'll show you really quick how I cut my page for a flip flap. So let's go back over where you can see closer. Okay, so you can see they look like this. And I think that I'll show you. So this is, I always have to think this through. Maybe you could just do it without thinking. This is my left page, which means my page has the margin on the right side because it'll go in my book that way, right? On the left side. So I always need to think about that before I cut a page to make sure that I've got it the right direction. I have made mistakes before. So all I do is grab a pencil, a ruler, and right here where the flip flap ends, sorry about that glare, you guys. Okay. I just hold that ruler just right at the top of that and make myself a line on the page protector where I need to cut. Then just to be safe, I pull it out. You can see that I've got that line on there. And then I just use some kind of a cutting mat. I've got one right here that cost pennies. I think I bought a package of 4 of these at Walmart for, I don't know, a few dollars. And then I'm just going to use my ruler to hold it right where that line is so that I don't go crazy. And I just use the tip of my scissors. Open up my scissors and excuse the top of my head, guys. And then just cut right along that line. Just going to make sure I got it all the way through. Yep. So now I can pull that out and slide this on top. And there's that opening for these to go through. I just noticed a sticker that I think is dang cute that maybe I want to put right here. This is me taking a picture. I don't know who took the picture of me taking a picture, but it's really washed out right there for me to lighten this enough. So maybe I can cover that up a little bit. With a tab. That's cute. I just need to add some cardstock behind it because that's sticky. So let me grab some of my scraps. Wouldn't it be great if we thought of all the little details before everything was glued on? Because then it would be so much easier to do things like this. There we go. Wonder if there's a word that would fit on there. On here somewhere. Is that too long? Here's the story. Yep. How about the details. That's cute. What if I move it over here and add a little heart next to it? I gotta just find a heart that works. Hopefully there's one left. That's gonna be cute on here. Looks like all my patterned hearts are gone. But I've got a little light peach one right here that maybe I could put with a darker one. I was just thinking I didn't want one the same color, but if I do a large one that is the same color, because that's what I have, and a smaller one that's a little bit lighter, that's cute. I don't know if you can see that on camera. Okay, I like that. I'm glad I added that little detail because now you lift it and you see more details. Cute. Okay, I think that does it. Oh, you know what? I should show you really quickly how you would add a flip flap to the top of your page if you prefer to do it that way. So I think I might have another flip flap with me. It might not be the right size, but we're going to pretend. Okay, so let's say I wanted to put a flip flap on top of this photo for more journaling or photos. Let's see where I put that flip flap. I thought I saw it. There we go. It is the wrong size, but we're going to just pretend it's the same size, okay? So this is the flip flap. Pretend it's 4x6. It has that adhesive strip that folds under. So all you would do is pull off that strip and lay the flip flap over the top of the photo, and then it's on the outside of this page protector. That's way easier than the way I like to do it, but let me tell you when I would not do this. If you live in a really humid area, or if your house isn't air conditioned so the heat is going all the time, I have had sometimes those slide from the heat, so they didn't stay exactly where they belonged, even though that adhesive strip is really, really strong. If you don't live anywhere where it's humid or extra hot in your house, you would be fine adding these on the top. I just like the security of them underneath. They're not going to ever move. So it's up to you, whatever you like to do. All right, I think that takes care of this layout. I hope you had fun creating a monochromatic layout with me and maybe got some ideas of ways you can use that. Maybe we're inspired to pull out some of those old photos and take photos of your photos and print them edited and have them look so nice on your pages. So I had fun doing it with you, and we will see you for our next process video next month.